We are back. We are back. We are back. Okay, so today is another good day. Um, for the fact that we did take another trade today. I did not get the chance to record it live for the fact that as this trade was going on, I just was busy and just had a lot of things going on and just didn't really have um like a good place for me to record. Plus, I was just really busy. Um, but nonetheless, we were still able to take a trade, and uh, I'm pretty happy with the results. Obviously, it was a winning trade. If we go here, come back here, we did make, like I said, today is Thursday. Come back, resync this. Today, as you guys can see, today we took one trade, which is actually $111. Um, So yes, another profitable day, which is really good. So far, 2 days back to back. And like I said, this trade mainly the main reason I couldn't really record, like early in the morning was for one, I just did not get up, which was really inconsistent on my part. But as I when I did wake up, I realized that this trade, even the trades that I was looking at, which was on daily, off US 30. So let's start off on US 30. It was this trade here. Um, yeah, this trade here. I was looking for this. I was looking for a either this was going to actually pull up, which it did, but it was either going to keep pushing up, or I was looking for a nice little push down. Which in this case here, it would just kind of just stay still. It did push up a little bit, but then it obviously came back down. So nothing was really happening around this part. Same thing goes for GU. GU was another pair that I was looking to get in. I was actually looking to get in on a potential push up based off this level right here of support of this exhaustion zone here. But like I said, it never even played out either. So, like I said, this wasn't really a like I said, even if I did, I woken up on time, there wouldn't have been nothing for me to record live just because there was no trade. There was simply just no trade opportunity at that time. But nonetheless, like I said in the previous video, I still want at least to take one trade minimum per day, even if it's a small trade, even if it's a 5, 10 pip, whatever it may be. At least one trade a day. Um, I feel like can really help me like my skill. I obviously understand like even if I can understand a small move and understand when just to get in to get out, that'll just really again just help me stay consistent with my skill, and again it'll just benefit me a lot more. Because again the market moves all day long, so there's at least one move, right? It may not be a big move, um, but if I can understand the small moves, then that's even good. Which I feel like I did do today. Like I said, so let's start off with US 30. This was that trade. Like I said, this is a live account. If we go closed positions, as you can see, this was my yesterday, and this was today. 111. As you guys can see, this trade did actually go. Actually, it went all the way up to $190. Um, these are the screenshots that I took on my phone. So this was obviously at the end, as you guys can see, live account, like I just also showed you guys the date, everything, plots, all that. I did take this screenshot here. This screenshot was up 157, but as you can see, when I was around this point right here, these wicks, that was about 190. Um, but like I said, I was still trying to see if it was still going to continue to push up. Um, and I'll break the trade down right now. But yeah, so we actually ended up closing a little bit less just because obviously if you do want to get in on another push, obviously it does have to retrace a tad bit. So I was just trying to see. But nonetheless, like I said, it was just I still took that trade, still made $111, which is still good. And like I said, just down to the point where it was just I was able to find the trade, you know what I mean? I was able to find the trade, break it down, know when to get in, know when to get out. I was actually waiting about this trade did take about 30 minutes. But prior to that, I was analyzing this for about maybe another 40 minutes maybe before I did get in. So this is that trade right here. So it was on US 30, right? Like I just said, let me delete this. Like I just said, I was actually looking for it was either going to be going to continue to push up or continue to push down, right? Those were the two options obviously that I was going to do. But from here, like I said, the potential I thought coming in today, we might, especially after this long wave of exhaustion coming up, I thought we did have a potential to then just continue to push up, especially how drastic US 30 can be at times. But if not, if it was going to do this, which is looking like it's going to play out my original analysis, um, but nonetheless, as I in this moment, right in this trade here, I took was it within this candle here. Like I said, on based off H4, it wasn't enough for me to still to look down right when I was within this candle right here. If we break this down based off the H1 time frame, so this was this here on H1, right? Based off H1, we did have this higher low point. We did have this higher high point. Then we came back, tested. This can kind of be considered as a like variation. What I do consider a variation. So understanding this, it was very, very like bearish at this point in time. But once that retracement happened, obviously went up above here. So then I can, to a certain extent, so a small extent, this is an engulfing. The only way why I kind of hesitate a little bit is because we did get a gap, as you guys can see. So I knew to a certain extent too that we were going to fill this gap. I didn't know how quick, I didn't know how soon. So it was just about being patient, right? So as this trade here was coming about, I waited for this candle right here. So let's break that candle down. So basically, yes, on H1, we were still bullish, right? We were still maintaining all this whole entire bullish move. So then when I come down to M15 now, like I said, this was that H1 big candle, based off the H1 time frame, and this was on M15 its structure, right? So obviously we can see higher low, and then we can see this higher high come about. So then I was being patient on this retracement. I knew that we were going to get a retracement. So I was just really, really being patient on just exactly this retracement. This exhaustion zone here, I thought we could actually come up a little bit more. Maybe I could have had a better placement on this, but nonetheless, like I said, we almost tapped this area here, coming about this area here. But like I said, based off H15, we're still very, very bullish during this time right here. Let me delete this fib. Oh well, yeah. So this it pretty much came down to about 100% when it came to this fib. As you guys can see here, I don't have it on my fibs, but just so you guys can see, it did come all the way down to 100%. I just don't place it on my fibs just because I just don't like to. But I just understand that this is that 100% retracement, so they did pull back, right? So understanding all this here, this is that candle right here. I knew that we would have to, because this was higher low, higher high, we were still expecting in a bullish trend, right? Higher low, that's what a trend is, right? Higher low, higher high, higher low. So then at this point in time, I'm expecting an engulfing, right? But I want to correlate this engulfing with the lower time frame structure, right? So then when we're coming down here, this is that big push, right? This is that push that we see based off the M15, which is right here. So based off that, like I said, at this point in time, I'm just simply looking. I was actually pretty aggressive on this move, meaning that I wasn't really looking for much based off the M5. I wasn't looking based off much, except all I was looking for was an engulfing. All I was looking for in engulfing. So this right here, these three candles right here is a bullish variation, right? 1, 2, 3. These three engulf this. You guys can see 1, 2, 3. So these four candles, right, is what made that bullish variation. But with this bullish variation, at the end of the day, I actually come back here. Sorry, just so exactly I know where. It's these two levels here. Boom. That's all I needed, right? I was waiting for this to kind of form. So when we go on M1, I took this trade based off the M1 time frame. As you guys can see here, we had already gone bullish based off the M1 had already gone bullish with these right here, higher low, higher high. So I understand that this is a bullish market. Once again, I did pull out my fibs during this time here. This was at 38.2, right? But then just kept pushing all along. Boom. Understand this was just more of a retracement at 100%. So based off this is that area. I said this was that engulfing part. So what I was waiting for at this point in time again, and I think my entry could have been a lot better again, but there was a small, I'm not gonna lie, there was a small hesitation on my part. Just because again, there was a lot going on while I was taking this trade, which is not a good thing, but like I said, I did want to be more consistent. So I did tell myself that I'm looking for, I just wanted to take at least a trade, right? Even if it was a small trade, even if it was a minimum trade, I wanted to be able to just kind of improve my skill on a day-to-day basis. So at the end of the day, I was really looking for, I wanted to see a break of resistance, right? So right here is resistance for one. This is resistance. Boom. And then it was also a break of this counter trend line, right? It was actually more like this, to be honest. This was my trend line that I had at that time. So I was looking for a break of this counter trend line, but also mainly, not just mainly this, a break of resistance, right? So once we kind of broke out of this, I was like, okay, cool, but I still want to see at least a break above here, which we didn't. We got another retrace, but we got another level of resistance. So once we went above this level here, again, this wasn't a break yet, and not, well, I don't consider it a break until I see another candle, which was this candle right here. This should have been my entry candle, but like I said, it was a small hesitation for like a minute. So at this point in time, there was still 3 minutes left within this 5-minute candle, as you guys can see. Over here, so this candle right here, there was when it broke above, there was still 3 minutes left, right? Which still is on this M5, it's still more than halfway, not yet complete. So I want to wait at least another minute just to be sure, right? Just so I can kind of come closer to that M5 closure. So this is why I waited for this here, this candle right here. So I entered off this candle right here, which once this candle closed and there was only 2 minutes left. But again, nonetheless, that's all I was really looking for, which is a break of resistance. So like I said, the minute this kind of broke above, I entered based off this candle right here. Looking back now, in hindsight, obviously I could have took another entry based off here. But like I said, there was just a lot going on. It was really hard for me to really concentrate on this trade itself, but that's why I didn't really wait too much for retracement. The minute it broke, it broke. I entered that trade. Stop loss. My stop loss was based off I think I want to say the M15, the M5. It was off the M5. I remember I had placed it. So this is basically the trade. I placed it right below this wick, just because I wanted to be. At first, I was gonna place it like this, understanding that as long as we get under this, but then I zoomed out to M5 and I saw this wick right here. So as long as we get out of this fluctuation zone, I was okay with. So this was my stop here. And then, like I said before, the entry was all up here. And this was that trade. So it was pretty, like I said, decent. I could have gotten a lot better based off the all the way up here, or close around here. So like I said, it was a decent trade. I mean, it was a big stop loss, but I mean, it was off the M5. But I just knew exactly where my exit points were. And like I said, just going off of this whole entire momentum. But I felt really confident based off the fact once we kind of broke this resistance, right, based off M5. So once we broke that M1 structure, but we had this engulfing, I knew that we were going to aim towards this area here. So like I said, knowing that this was that resistance, and again, this is just me looking back now in hindsight, analyzing, I could have got another entry based off this candle here, right? That was that area. Yeah, M5. Understanding that we did break above this area, or this little resistance area here. Boom, and then again, this entry candle, like I said, we broke above, entry candle, and then we basically went above here. So I feel like an entry based off here would have been nice, understanding that we did kind of retrace here, still maintaining that. And like I said, this would have been another bullish variation, 1, 2. And I feel like an entry bit and taking another entry here. So at the closure of this candle here would have been nice. So again, I should have had another entry here. Well, I could have had another potential entry here, and then going off this here. So again, this is just me looking back on my opportunities that I did miss. Nonetheless, it was a winning trade, but again, 2 entries. Like I said, I gotta get better, right? I gotta get better at my skill, understanding what is what. But then again, it's also my fault. I need to make time to be able to trade properly, right? Like I said, my head was just all over the place during this trade. Again, just my fault. It's my fault. But yeah, so nonetheless, so my exit was a nice exit, I would say, because like I said, I was still waiting for this to push. Like I said, based off H1, this did have a lot of potential, right? Like I said, we were just coming off this gap right here. I felt like we could have had a nice big push up. And for the fact that we're still essentially maintaining this little bullish structure. So I still understood it to a certain extent that we could still have a nice push, but I wasn't going to wait for too long, right? So what I mean by that, I just went basically strictly off M1 once again. I wasn't even looking from M5. Like M5 would have been a lot too much. And like I said, it was already kind of towards the end of the day. I think I took this trade around like, I want to say 10 o'clock, if anything, a little bit past 10 o'clock. So we were already kind of going towards market close. And like I said, if we did pull back, I didn't want to wait kind of towards that slow area, because again, it could have it gets pretty slow towards the end of market close. I just didn't want to be in that, right? So I just decided on my own that based off M1, once we got like a real break of support, meaning because we do have like a small little break of support here, but that's not really valid in that case. So I was correlating the M5 with the M1 at this point, right? We didn't have an engulfing yet. So even though we did break a support on there on M5, we also didn't really have an engulfing to go with that. So I wasn't really scared too much. I understood that we still had a potential to kind of push up, which we kind of did here. So now coming back to this area here, I got a little hopeful that this trade could have kept going based off the fact that we did break this resistance here. So once we broke this resistance here, I was a bit hopeful, but I still understood that at the end of the day, we still need to again continue this, right? We did just basic structure, lower high. This is that lower low. Once again, this is a lower high, but we didn't get that lower low. Instead, we got a higher low, right? And then we broke this lower high. So now we made a higher low, higher high, higher low. So then we just again we needed to just continue this here. And I was honestly going to enter another position here if we would have got another higher high, but we didn't, right? And this is what made me exit, because we didn't get that. Instead, we got this higher low, higher high, higher low. Then we got a lower high, right? So the minute we close right here under this, exit off here, right? So I was still a little bit like this was still being tested, meaning if we were to draw this support right here, slightly tested, right? So I was still a tad bit like maybe this is still tested, it's not necessarily broken just yet. This here we could have got another crazy wick, maybe just kind of touching this liquidity and then heading back to the upside, but that didn't happen, right? The minute we closed right under this, that kind of to me obviously showed me that we were broken. I was out, and luckily, yeah, like I said, from here on out we just went all the way down, which would have again put me back in negative. And then again, I just didn't want to be within this consolidation. Obviously, I had a lot going on at the time, so I just didn't really want to go through that. So I said the minute that we break an M1 support, then I'm out. Like I said, that support also was this M5 engulfing, right? So again, M5 engulfing, M1 broken support, all those correlate. Which again, I just did not want to be a part of it. Like I said, it did. Now it did push back up, right? Now this is just kind of me having to analyze now what's kind of currently going on, but it did push back up. But like I said, it just wasn't part of my trade. It wasn't part of my analysis. It was just simply I was trying to get in, get out. Like I said, I'm still happy with the results because again, we got out at the perfect time and got in at the perfect time. And like I said, just did not want to be a part of this whole consolidation. So yeah, so again, at the end of the day, still I think this is a good trade. I feel like again, things that we need to improve on are these entries, right? Just like the previous day, that trade that we took, we could have had a way better entry. But like I said, we were a bit hesitant. Same thing came with this one, right? We were a bit hesitant on this entry. That again, we could have still gotten a way better entry. So it's just again better entries also equal a better risk to reward. As you can see, this stop loss was pretty big just for what being on M5 and then being for my take profit. Like I said, this wasn't really a good risk to reward. But at the end of the day, I just knew what I was trying to aim for, and it wasn't nothing crazy, right? But like I said, nonetheless, we're still doing good. Like I said, back to back winning days. Back to back winning days, right? So like I said, this is Wednesday. Yesterday it was that 1.1K trade. Today we have this 111 and like 80 cents or something. So like I said, tomorrow I'm still going to be looking for another trade. Like I said, one trade minimum. Doesn't have to be nothing crazy. It is Friday, so I'm really going to be really like conservative and make sure that all my confirmations do play out if I do end up taking trades, because again, it is Friday. I do like to end the week strong. And like I don't want to lose anything that I just had previously made these last 2 days. So like I said, it's just something that I need to really be focused on, and again, be aware of what I'm going to exit, enter, all that. I need to be obviously headstrong. So if I do take a position, I should be really confident in that position. But yeah, nonetheless, this is US 30. Yeah, US 30. So again, as of right now, that does look like my original analysis is going to potentially play out, right? Something maybe head down here, maybe even down here. If lower time frame does give us that opportunity, I can see obviously we're testing this strong level of valid resistance. You can see we touched this level 1-2 times, made a lower high each time. So yeah, so those are things that I'm taking into consideration, right? On GU, once again, I'm still the way this daily, it depends on this daily closure, and then it also depends on H4, depending on how we close underneath this higher low point. As of right now, we would be maintaining, right? Let me just delete this, make it a bit more clear. This would be that main level of support right here. So essentially, it's still testing, right? In my eyes, this is still a support. Actually, a main support level. Just simply off H4. And then if we were to fib this out, right, this is a, once again, 100% retracement. Just to show you guys. This is why one reason I don't like having 100% on my charts, because it kind of goes together with this and it kind of blocks this. And I don't know, just bugs me. Just a personal reason. So yeah, 100% retrace, as you guys can see. So this is still a valid. Like I said, I'm just going to be solely focused on lower time frames, waiting for this, maybe based off like H1. Based off like H1, maybe even M15. Actually, I think based off H1 should be straight. All right, just kind of getting this little, yeah, H1's good. I was trying to find a good placement for this trend line, and H1 is good. So, maybe something like this, breaking this counter trend line, but also just structure, looking for a break of resistance, looking for higher low points, right? I want to see higher low points come in all along here. That then will help this H4 candle obviously push out of this and continue to the upside. like I said, based off the daily time frame, we're still a bit bullish, right? So until then, so it all depends on this daily, right? So it depends on how, like I said, the market does close in a bit. So it all really depends on how this kind of closes and what happens, and we'll go from there. So yeah, that is the end of that.